Hello, Sleuth. My name is Ave. This is Karabear, and welcome to the video channel for Karabear Comics. It's time for another character introductions video, and so we've seen character introductions for Almighty Protectors, Defenders of America, and the Elemental Four, along with 4 others in that video. This time, it's going to be characters who are not in my primary universe. My primary superhero universe is called KC Earth 1. These characters will be characters that were in what used to be my primary comic. They're mostly from all different universes, but this is from the comic Karabear Comics Unlimited. The team, the main team, the heroes in it are, I call their team the Unlimited. It's sort of an unofficial name for them, though it has been used in a comic before. As it stands, it'll be all that team plus one other character, and that character has been the focus of several issues of Karabear Comics Unlimited and is considered a main character despite not being part of the team, and actually was the character to start out the comics, but that character will be at the end of all these characters. But I just wanted to say a little bit about the conceit of the Unlimited. Is they're all from different universes, and they don't have somebody like Pinball from Almighty Protectors who can take them to different universes. What they're able to do is, this is an outlandish concept I came up with, but there's just sort of a nexus reality hub that's just a gay bar that can take you to all these different realities, and that's actually where they all met. Where they all met up with each other, or how the way that they were able to do it. I don't mention that in the actual stuff I say over the speed drawings, but yeah, that's an important thing to know with it. They've met and they've had adventures together, but they've also had adventures separately. It's just more of a thing if they're a group of friends who happen to go on adventures together. But no matter what, let's get into the drawings, and yeah, you'll see what the Unlimited plus one other character are like. First up is Eiderdown, real name Julie Ramos. Pronouns are she, her. She's a half Mexican, half Lao bisexual trans woman who operates out of the universe KC Earth 7, where she's so far the only native superpowered resident. A chance encounter with an agent of chaos when she was a baby gave her the ability to control feathers, and despite knowing this is quite an unimpressive power of sorts, she still decided to become a superhero eventually. However, inability to find proper employment and self-doubt meant she waited until her 20s before doing so. Since becoming a superhero, she's found friends from other worlds and new aspects of her own powers. It's not just that she can create and control feathers, but can become a mass of feathers and blow away in the breeze, and she's effectively bulletproof as she can reform her wound as essentially a healing factor. Her body itself is basically a pillow, which allows her to survive great impacts, and she has also learned how to make feathered wings for herself in order to fly. Julie is shy, but still able to speak up to her friends when they get out of line. She's eager to help when she can, but she's still learning the ropes of being a superhero. Julie is trilingual in English, Spanish, and Lao. At the moment, she's in an open relationship with the swimmer, who you'll see later, and has a sibling dynamic with Fractal, who you'll also see later. And here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. Next is Fractal, no civilian name, pronouns are they, them. They're a being who is constantly shifting in age, though always an adult, sex, body type, height, weight, and the like, and is gender fluid. The patterns on their costume are also always changing, becoming random fractal patterns. While they can stop the shape-shifting and look like any form they want, Fractal has mentioned that shifting is like breathing, and that the body will force it if it's stopped for too long. Their power, though, is actually the ability to make energy constructs, which are fractal patterned. Since these constructs are always opaque, they can't use them like a Green Lantern and fly on command, instead needing to figure out a contraption that they could construct which would make them be able to fly, and they're not an engineer. Fractal comes from KC Earth 23, a world where superheroes are so common they've replaced traditional law enforcement. They awoke one day in an alley with no memories of their past. Later they discovered that they're actually a collection of souls from countless universes who are simultaneously caught in a reality-cracking explosion, and that's the reason for the constant shifting. Their costume and constructs are actually made of souls themselves. Fractal is friendly, but instinctually wants to take charge. They have no patience for interference from law enforcement of other worlds, used to the freedom superheroes have in their own universe. Fractal is best friends with Eiderdown and considers themselves the leader of the Unlimited, even if none of the others even think there is or needs to be a leader. And here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. Now we have Astral, real name Colton White, pronouns are he, him. He's a resident of Humboldt County in the universe-designated WC Hercules 1, also known as the H-Universe, and is a straight trans man. His power is to astral project into a solid form, which takes the form of his idealized self, highly masculine and possessing the powers of flight, super strength, and invulnerability. In his astral form, Colton is confident and heavily flirtatious. When he is his normal self, though, he's incredibly self-conscious, as he's short and very curvaceous, with big breasts and big hips. If his power worked differently, he would likely stay in his astral form, but when he's in it, his real body is unconscious and is vulnerable to injury, hunger, thirst, and the like. While he's found he does have the ability to encase his real body with his astral form, this takes an incredible amount of concentration, and he can only do this for a few seconds before his astral form dissipates. He can also go back to his real body if he's too startled, or if he feels enough pain while in his astral form. Colton works at a used music store and is friends with Sparkle, who you'll see later, and who he sees as a sister. And here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. And now it's Sparkle, real name Diamond June, pronouns are she, her. She is also a resident of Humboldt County in WC Hercules 1, like I said, that's also known as the H-Universe, and is a straight trans woman. Sparkle's power is super strength, which is tied to her emotions. Any emotion will cause her strength and size to increase to the same degree said emotions have increased. The problem is that this also causes her mental capacity to lower. Since she was born with this ability and doesn't even have a regular human form to revert to like the Hulk does, Sparkle has always struggled in school and never finished. She grew up in Mississippi with a highly homophobic and transphobic father who tried to send her to conversion therapy. Diamond eventually ran away, literally running on foot from her home, and hoped to go to San Francisco where she'd heard she could be herself more freely. However, she didn't know the direction and went too far north, ending up in Humboldt. However, upon meeting Astral and them striking up a friendship, she decided to stay there. After all, he was like a brother to her and her found family. She calls herself Sparkle because whenever her strength and mass are increasing, pink sparkles appear around her. Overall, she's a caring, optimistic person who will fight to protect those she loves. Here are the finished inks. This is a fully colored image. Next is a swimmer, real name Amukali Ravenwing, pronouns are she, her. She hails from the universe SU Earth 1, also known as the Superhero Universe, and is a lesbian Cherokee trans woman. The swimmer has the ability to make the air take on the properties of water, allowing her to swim through it, but also to do things like cause a fleeing criminal to suddenly have it be like they're trying to run through water. This power is something she got when she went to a scientific demonstration of a device which could access alternate universes. Said device exploded immediately upon being turned on. Amukuli was one of the survivors and found out she had a power soon after. Unbeknownst to her at the time, she wasn't the only one to gain powers from this explosion. In fact, this same explosion happened simultaneously in countless realities, creating a new being who she would later become allies with, the hero known as Fractal. Amukuli is bilingual in English and Cherokee. She's always ready to quip at any possible instance and flirt with the ladies she sees. Currently she's in a relationship with Eiderdown, but it's an open relationship, so her flirtations haven't stopped. Here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. Also hailing from SU Earth 1 is the Runner, real name unpronounceable, but who has taken on the surface name of Ichabod Theodore Mann. Pronouns are he, him. The Runner is a gay trans man and a member of a race of fish people called Flamerans. He is the only member of his race who has ever been to the surface world, and this is due to his power. Ichabod has the ability to withstand extreme pressure or lack thereof, possibly being immune to differences in pressure. On land, this puts his abilities on par with most any human, though he does have gadgets in his pouches, such as a seed that when pressed becomes a staff weapon, electric charges, a pearl that lets out a burst of blinding light when it impacts the ground, and a seed that immediately sprouts a strangling seaweed when it touches the ground. He couples these gadgets with skilled hand-to-hand fighting abilities. However, despite all this, the Runner does not consider himself a superhero, but an adventurer. It just so happens that he's found himself regularly mingling with superheroes and gone to multiple universes. His codename only exists because he originally called himself that, before being suggested the human name, which was a pun that he didn't understand. The name The Runner comes from the fact that he's wandering the surface, and he originally didn't have as much knowledge about the difference between the words walk and run. Ichabod is fluent in his people's language, but he can speak broken English. He can't breathe air, which necessitates him using the water tanks. Also, he's in a relationship with a merman, who is the only one who can draw him away from the allure of the surface world for any amount of time. Here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. This final character is not a member of the Unlimited, but I'm going to include him because he's an important character in Karabear Comics Unlimited and has been the protagonist in several issues. I say protagonist and not hero though, so please take note of that. This is Tempor. Pronouns are he, him. Tempor is a guardian of cosmic order, his mission being to ensure the timeline of events happens in a particular way. He has the ability to fire energy blasts and make energy constructs, as well as fly, create portals to other worlds, and he can see into the future of all the worlds under his dominion, or at least the future that's supposed to happen. Every Order Guardian is in charge of their own multiverse, and Tempor oversees a multiverse which uses the prefix KC. He is a stern, no-nonsense defender of order, and has even rankled a few of his fellow Order Guardians in his unwavering pursuit. His lifelong enemies are the Agents of Chaos, and he will kill them on sight if he can. This mission has become even more important to him whenever Chaos Agents are able to get one over on him, and this has happened. In one notable instance, an altercation with a Chaos Agent caused Julie Ramos of KC Earth 7 to gain superpowers when that world was not supposed to have anything of the sort. And said altercation turned out to be a distraction anyways, keeping Tempor distracted from KC Earth 1, another world which was not supposed to have superpowers. But because of his being distracted, Tempor didn't see the timeline change there, with the explosion of superpowers across that universe until it was too late. Currently seeing KC Earth 1 as his biggest failure, Tempor has tried to make it his mission to reverse the changes there, and there's one group at the center of his ire, the Protectors, and particularly the one Tempor believes is the Chaos Agent at fault, Pinball. And here are the finished inks. And this is a fully colored image. And so that was the Unlimited plus Tempor. They, like I said, are from Karabear Comics Unlimited. As I do with these things, I'm going to put the link to it at the end. This time it doesn't have 2 links. It only has 1 link because it was on Drunk Duck, or The Duck. And I haven't really posted the entirety of it anywhere else. I started to put it up on Comic Fury. But now that I'm done with the Unlimited, the next character introductions is going to be on my team, Wonder Team. And actually, I'm only going to do 2 more character introductions. If you've noticed, none of these have had villains. Tempor's the closest to a villain, but he is more of a neutral. I tried to create a character with blue and orange morality, as TV tropes would call it. I haven't done any villains yet. But the way I figured I'd do villains, instead of doing character introductions for all of them, is I would just create stories. Popcross Studios and Dempsey J Illustrations both have these stories that they'll tell while drawing. And I figured I could do something like that. They put their faces up. I'm not going to do that. You do not know how many times I edit myself and I'm doing my voiceover stuff. No, I don't speak very well. You can see from these introductions, I'm not the best spoken. I don't script them, but you know, I'm articulate, but I stutter, I fall over my words, I go on tangents, all that sort of stuff. It's a little harder to get that all be more all more concise. So yeah, 2 more character introductions, and again, that's going to be over the course of 4 weeks, because I try to do the character introductions every other week, so that way you can have the next video be something that people might want to see that don't really care about my characters. And when I get to the stories, hopefully that'll be more interesting to people, because it won't just be talking about the characters, it'll actually be telling a story, which is what I prefer to do anyways. But I've been rambling, and this is going to make the video so much longer than it needs to be. So I will just say that if you want to, you know, all the YouTuber things, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, only if you want to. I'm not pressing you to. But as I always say, something that you need to do. This is a requirement. Have a good day.